Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Precalc series. My name is Meek, and I'm going to be teaching this class way better than your teacher can by covering things in depth the easy way. Let's get right into it. So, as the title suggests, we are going to be doing all the operations with polynomials today. So let's start off with what the simplest one is, adding polynomials. Okay, so here you can see I have a problem set up for us, and it's important to know how we approach this, because the same approach is going to apply generally to all the subsequent operations. So here we see one trinomial added to another trinomial. The way we're going to go about this is we are going to look for terms that have the same quantity of x. So you'll see here on the left we have an x squared, and on the right we have an x squared. So what we do is we match up all of the characters here that have the same x relationship, okay? So we're going to take this addition operator, and this is going to become x squared plus 2x squared. And then we're going to find all of the things that have only one x. So we're going to match these up. So we're going to do 4x plus negative 2x. And then we're going to find all of our constants. And that's going to become 12 minus 4 for us in this case. So let's simplify all of these. So x squared plus 2x squared brings us to 3x squared. 4x minus 2x gives us 2x. And 12 minus 4 gives us 8. So that means that our resultant from all of this up here, this equals 3x squared plus 2x plus 8. That is our final answer right here. So that's the general theme of what's going on here. We need to pair up everything that has the same relationship to x, and we only execute the operator on those pairs, as you have seen me demonstrate. Now, let's try again with subtraction, and subtraction operates by exactly the same principle, okay? So let me draw the same thing again. 2x squared plus 4x minus 12 minus, this time, let's say x squared minus 8x plus 14. Okay? So again, we're going to match up everything that has the same relationship to x, and then we're going to continue with our subtraction operation from there. Okay? So first we have 2x squared minus x squared from this union. Then we have 4x minus negative 8x from this pair. And then we are going to unite negative 12 minus 14, given from this pair. So we're going to combine all of these. 2x squared minus x squared gives us regular x squared. Our 4x plus 8x gives us 12x. And our negative 12 minus 14 gives us negative 26. And we're going to unite all of this together to give us our final resultant equals this thing down here, x squared plus 12x minus 26. And that is our final answer. Okay, let's continue going now with a little more complex something. So here I'm going to give us 3 times x squared minus 14x plus 12 minus 4 times negative x squared plus 2x minus 10. So now here we have some constants out in front that we need to be aware of. Okay? So first thing, whenever we see constants out in front, we're going to distribute those into the parentheses. Okay? So let's first evaluate our left side. This is going to become 3x squared minus 42x plus 36. And now we're going to bring down our minus operator, and we are going to distribute the 4 into this set of parentheses. Distributive property yet again. So this is now going to become negative 4x squared plus 8x minus 40. This is a 10, just so we all know. So I'm going to reintroduce my parentheses so that this negative isn't confused with this one, and we are going to continue evaluating. And it is the same exact process we went through before. We match up everything that has the same relationship to x. So let's do that. First we have our 3x squared plus our 4x squared. Then we're going to have our negative 42x minus our 8x. And then we're going to have our 36x minus our negative 40x, which is going to go to 36 plus 40. So we're going to simplify all of these. This is going to become 7x squared. This is going to become negative 50x. And this is going to become 76. And so we bring everything all together to become 7x squared minus 50x plus 76. And that is our resultant equation from this operation. Let's consider multiplication, okay? First, let's try multiplying two simple polynomials. 2x minus 5 multiplied by 2x minus 5, okay? Now, you'll notice that this is exactly the same thing as 2x minus 5 squared. So understand that whenever you see an exponent, if you want to do away with that exponent, all you need to do is multiply the base out that many times. So if instead I were given 2x minus 5 to the third, that would become 2x minus 5 times 2x minus 5 times 2x minus 5. Okay? Now, for the purpose of showing you guys a harder example, so it's easier for you to learn the easier one, we are going to focus on this. Okay, we're going to move this up here, and we are going to try and multiply this out. So, first thing I like to do is I like to consider just one set of multiplication first, and then I move on to the next one, okay? So here, we are going to, yet again, do some distributive multiplication. We're going to do 2x times 2x, and then we're going to do 2x times negative 5. We're going to do negative 5 times 2x, and then we're going to do negative 5 times negative 5, okay? So let's do exactly that. 2x times 2x gives us 4x squared. 2x times negative 5 gives us negative 10x, okay? Negative 5 times 2x gives us negative 10x. Negative 5 times negative 5 gives us positive 10. Hey guys, Future Meek here, editing the video, realizing the absolutely horrendous mistake I made right here. Just pretend that 10 equals 25, the actual correct answer. We are going to add all of these up to get our remainder, to get our resultant, our answer, okay? So this is going to become 4x squared minus 10x plus 10, which can then further be simplified to 4x squared minus 20x plus 10. And that is our final answer, our resultant from doing this initial multiplication. Now I know that since this is equal to this, I can rewrite my problem as 4x squared minus 20x plus 10. Again, guys, that's supposed to say plus 25, all in parentheses, multiplied by my remaining 2x minus 5. And now I just need to do this same exact thing over again. Now, I would need to take my first and multiply it by this guy, then I'd multiply it by this guy. I take my second, multiply it by this guy, then multiply it by this guy. Then I take my third, multiply it by this guy, then multiply it by that guy. But that's a lot of multiplication. I could do it a different way. I could instead write it as 2x minus 5 times the other thing, because multiplication is commutative. I just need to do my first 2x times 4x squared times negative 20 times 10, and my negative 5 times 4x squared minus 20x plus 10. This becomes, what's 2x times 4x squared? 8x to the third. What's 2x times negative 20x? That's going to be negative 40x squared. What's 2x times 10? That's going to be 20x. Okay, then we do the second digit in our first polynomial right here. Negative 5 times 4x squared gives me negative 20x squared. Then negative 5 times negative 20x gives me 100x. Then negative 5 times 10 gives me negative 50. So now I need to combine all of these to get my final answer, my resultant from this multiplication. That's going to become Oh, this is supposed to be a to the third, excuse me. This is going to become 8x to the third minus 40x squared plus 20x minus 20x squared plus 100x, a little bit more room, minus 50. Okay? And now we need to combine like terms. I have 2x squareds, I have 2x's. So those need to be further combined. 8x to the third, negative 40x minus 20x gives me negative 60x squared, and 20x plus 100x gives me a positive 120x. And I bring down my negative 50 to get this as the final resultant of my entire multiplication. So if we wanted to summarize multiplication in one concise statement, you'd say that you take your first term and you multiply it by everything else. You take your second term and you multiply it by everything else. If, in the case that you have 3 terms, what you do is you take your first term, multiply it by everything in the opposite parentheses. You take your second term, multiply it by everything in the opposite parentheses. Then you take your third term, multiply it by everything in the opposite parentheses. So that you should get 2 terms once you do your first term's multiplication. You should get another 2 terms after you do your second term's multiplication, and you should get another 2 after you do your third terms. If, for example, I were to give us a trinomial multiplied by a trinomial, then in this case you take your first term, multiply it by everything here, you get 3 new terms. Take your second term, multiply by everything here, you get an additional 3 new terms. And you take your third term, multiply it by everything here, and you get 3 new terms. So now you have 9 terms after this multiplication has been done. Now, let's move on to division. Let's say I gave you 2x squared minus 7x plus 6 divided by x minus 2. Okay, let's set up our division bar like we did back in elementary school. And let's divide 2x squared minus 7x plus 6 by x minus 2. Okay, so how do we go about this? So my highest order term right here is x. So my highest order term right here is 2x squared. What do I need to multiply x by to get to 2x squared? I need to multiply x by 2x to get to 2x squared. So that is my first step. I'm going to multiply by 2x, and that is going to be my first number up here. So 2x multiplied by x gives me 2x squared. 2x multiplied by negative 2 gives me negative 4x. So that is my first step of division. That is my first run through of factoring stuff out. Okay? So now we come down here and we do our subtraction. Okay, what's 2x squared minus 2x squared? 0. What's negative 7x plus 4x? That's going to be negative 3x. So now I'm going to bring down my 6 and I'm left with negative 3x plus 6. And now it's time for me to do my division again. I find my highest order term here and I say, what's the highest order term here? What do I need to do to x to get to negative 3x? I need to multiply by negative 3. So that becomes the next part of my answer. So now I need to subtract what I just performed. So what's negative 3 times x? It's negative 3x, what I expected. And now what's negative 3 times negative 2? It's 6. So what's negative 3x minus negative 3x? 0. What's 6 minus 6? 0. So I am left with no remainders here. So I can now say that 2x squared minus 7x plus 6 divided by x minus 2 equals 2x minus 3, as demonstrated right here. Okay, now that begs the question, what do you do if there is a remainder? Let's say, for example, that instead of given minus 7x, I was given minus 6x. And let's do that division. So I would again get set up with my division bar, put my 2x squared minus 6x plus 6 inside, and I'd put my x minus 2 outside. So what do I need to do to x to get to 2x squared? I need to multiply by 2x. So now I subtract 2x squared. What's 2x times negative 2? Minus 4x. Okay. I do this subtraction, I get 0 minus 2x. And I, again, bring down my positive 6. Okay? Now, what do I need to do to x to get to negative 2x? I multiply by negative 2. So that's going to be my second part. Okay, so I need to subtract my negative 2x. What's negative 2 times negative 2? It's 4. So now I'm left with just a positive 2 down here. I can't multiply x by anything to get to 2, so I'm left with a remainder of 2. That's my remainder. So I can say that this equals 2x minus 2 plus 2 over x minus 2. Okay? It's my remainder divided by the thing I am dividing by. Okay? This is now my final answer. Again, guys, if you need extra help with anything math or science related, join the Discord server regardless. Enjoy life.